everybody, and welcome to the next episode of What I Watched This Month. Please ignore the state of my hair. It is extremely humid here to the point of I want to die, actually. And on top of that, my air conditioning is broken. What's up? And on that note, this guy has got to go. I put it on because it was cute, but I just can't do it. Whew. Be gone, demon! Okay, let's get into it. These lights are hot. I'm gonna die making this video. Hit the like button so that I feel like this was worth it. Okay, what did I watch in April? I'm gonna start with TV shows. I watched 3 TV shows this month completely, from beginning to end, which is a lot, actually. So, TV show number 1 is Shadow and Bone. As I'm sure you know already, I have 2 videos about it on my channel, so I'm not going to go deeply into detail about it. If you want my full review, spoiler free, click this. I always forget what side it's on. And check out my review where I'll go into more detail about what this show is. I also did a commentary video for the first 2 episodes, which is also up on my channel. Feel free to check it out. Basically, Shadow and Bone, the short version, is a Netflix show. It's based on a book series by Leigh Bardugo. It's like a young adult fantasy series. So I was really excited about this show, but it's basically about this girl who is a young orphan soldier, and there's this giant wall of darkness called the Shadow Fold that is separating the world, basically, and causing a lot of political tension and just regular tension because it's a giant fucking cloud of darkness that kills people. Nobody loves that, and nobody knows how to destroy it. And then this girl, our protagonist, Alina, realizes that she is a sun summoner, which is like this legendary myth of someone who can summon the sun and potentially destroy the Shadow Fold and save everyone. And so that's kind of what this story is about in a nutshell. But what you really need to know about it is that it is so good. I was a little bit skeptical about this show when it was announced. I was like, this is a series based on a book. Those aren't usually very good. But my God, was it so good. I watched it twice. Absolutely fantastic. 5 out of 5. So go check it out on Netflix if you wanna. Next on my list is Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which I just finished. I can't remember if I talked about this in my last wrap up. I think at that time I had only watched like 1 episode, but now I'm done with it. And my goodness, was this show just lovely. I think it's such an interesting concept, like just seeing, I did talk about this in my last wrap up. Okay, I'll keep this brief, but I love seeing the world in the Marvel universe after the blip and like talking about what actually happened to all of the normal people and not the superheroes, and like how the world has changed and all of the problems that it has caused, like logistically. And it's just like stuff that normally you wouldn't think about because you're like, it's just a movie, like whatever, they'll figure it out. But like they actually went deep into detail about the events that occurred and the problems that this entire thing caused for the whole world. And it's just so interesting. And then on top of that, Falcon and the Winter Soldier are just great characters. I think Bucky was always a really interesting character. Sam was sort of just like, I always liked him in the movies, but he never really had a chance to like truly shine. And I love that we got his story here, and I loved his character arc. I will not spoil anything if you haven't finished it, but girl, the last episode, chef's kiss. So good. It's good. It's really good. You should watch it. I was one of those people that was kind of like, do we really need this show when it was first announced? Because like, no offense, but like, who gives a fuck about these 2 characters? But like now I would die for them, and I'm so happy that this exists. I think it's so good. It's so good for the world. It's so good for your soul. And then speaking of things that are good for your soul, my 3rd show that I watched, oh my goodness. So actually I need to make a shout out to the person who recommended this on my last wrap up. I was talking about how I was really looking for a lot of like wholesome, feel good stuff to watch because I just wasn't feeling very good and I wanted to watch stuff that made me feel good. Is it a crime? And someone in the comments recommended Ted Lasso. And I was like, I have absolutely no idea what that is. So sure, I'll watch it. And oh my God, this is the best show I have seen in a very long time. I think it might be better than Shadow and Bone, and y'all know how much I rave about that. Oh, perfection. So if you don't know, Ted Lasso is a show on Apple TV. It stars Jason Sudeikis, which sold me already because I love him. But it stars Jason Sudeikis as an American football coach. And the very first episode, he gets sent to England to be an English football coach, which, if you don't know, is soccer, which is just a really interesting concept in and of itself. But me, as a person who does not know anything or care at all about sports, was initially like, I don't know if I'm gonna like that show. Doesn't sound like it's for me. I don't know anything about soccer or football, but it's really not the point at all. It's about this guy, Ted Lasso, who is just like the most optimistic, positive, wholesome, you can't help but love him character. And he's just, I would watch him do anything, honestly. It doesn't even matter what the show's about. He's just such a great character, and you just want to protect him at all costs. But the show is like about him being in this environment where nobody wants him to be there, because everyone's like, what is this American football coach doing here, teaching this really amazing soccer team that like deserves a better coach than this guy who doesn't even know how to play soccer? And so he's like in this environment where nobody likes him, and he's like butting heads with everyone, but he just is always staying positive, and he never lets it get to him. And like eventually everyone, like, they just can't help but like him. And it's, I don't know, I'm doing a bad job of explaining this, but it's just a beautiful show. It made me cry, it made me laugh, it just hit every right note. Like, yeah, there are some sad-ish moments, but overall it's just a really good feel-good show. It just made my heart warm. It cured my soul. And I can't recommend it enough. It's not very long, it's like 10 episodes. I watched it in like 2 days. And there's a season 2 coming out, which I cannot wait for because I love it so much. Anyways, that's it for my TV shows. Let's move on to movies. So I watched 6 movies this month. Not very much, but in my defense, I did watch 3 TV series, like in full. So got me some slack. The first one I will talk about only briefly because I think you know by now that I watched this, but I watched the Snyder Cut. Zack Snyder's Justice League is a thing that I watched. And if you want my full thoughts on this, I have a 2-part commentary video of me watching the entire movie, all 4 hours. I had a good time watching it. I think it was a vast improvement over the original. I think it was way better. I'm not sure if I will ever watch it again because while I had a good time watching it and it was fun and it was like a popcorn flick adventure, whatever, it was still sloppy. It still had a lot of problems. It was more just like an event that I wanted to be a part of, and like I had a good time watching it. It was pretty good. So if you're like on the fence about it, I think you should watch it. I think you'll probably like it if you like that kind of thing. I don't think it has any like real cinematic merit, but like it was a fun time. Okay, the next movie that I watched specifically on April 8th. If you know what that day is, you know what movie I'm about to talk about. April 8th is also known as Rex Manning Day because I watched Empire Records. So actually, this is the first time I've ever seen Empire Records. I've always heard people like talking about it on Twitter every year on Rex Manning Day, and I'm always like, what the fuck is Rex Manning Day? Who is Rex Manning? I'm so confused. And so this was really just like I want to be part of the club. I want to know what's going on. So I watched it, and it was so great. Oh, I love this movie, and it's now going to be like a part of my annual April 8th ritual. I'm going to have to watch it every year. That's just fact. So Empire Records is a teen movie from 1995. It's very 90s. It stars Liv Tyler, Robin Tunney, Renee Zellweger. Like, it's 90s. It is the 90s. And it's about this group of teenagers who work in a record store. The movie takes place over 24 hours, and I love a movie that takes place over the course of one day. I think they're so fun. And it sort of just like walks you through all of their lives over the course of this day, and it's sort of like a bit of a coming of age movie, even though it's one day, like a lot happens on this day. And they're also trying to figure out the fact that this giant chain is trying to buy the record store and it's gonna like ruin everything. But it's really just like a day in the life where all of these different characters face huge problems and they all kind of pull through together, and it's just like a really fun, like, I don't know, it's just like a 90s teen movie, you know? It's about friendship and sex, and it's just a good time. I think the thing I really liked about this movie is just the characters themselves. Like, the plot is just like sort of whatever, but the characters are just so vibrant and interesting, and it's sort of like this wacky group of misfits that like I personally related to a lot, and it was just like a super fun, rockin' good time, and I recommend it. The next movie that I watched for no particular reason, I don't really know why I was in this like weird musical 90s mood, but I also watched That Thing You Do. That Thing You Do is a film from 1996, also starring Liv Tyler randomly. Didn't plan that, just kind of happened that way. And this is a film that is written and directed by Tom Hanks, which I had never even heard of until this month. I don't remember how it just like popped up somewhere and I was like, huh, that sounds interesting. But yeah, written and directed and starring Tom Hanks, which is neat. The film is set in the 60s and it's about this small town Pennsylvania band who scores a one-hit wonder, and they're noticed by Tom Hanks, who's like a musical agent, and it like follows them as they climb their way to fame. And they're sort of similar to the Beatles. I think it takes place the year after the Beatles became really famous, and they get compared to them a lot. And it almost feels like a biopic. And like at one point I had to actually look up if this band called The Wonders was real, but they are not. It's all fake. But it felt very authentic, and I was like, huh, I wonder if this is a true story. It's not. Personally, I thought this movie was like fine. It was fun. The song, their one-hit wonder, is so catchy. I had it stuck in my head for days after I watched this movie. But like, honestly, I thought it was pretty average. Personally, I didn't love the ending. I didn't really like the way the plot went. I will say it's a unique story. I wasn't really expecting it to go the direction that it went in, but it just sort of left me feeling kind of unfulfilled, and I was like, I don't really know the point of this. And Tom Hanks was like very average. I don't know, it was just, everything about it was just kind of average. Like, it wasn't bad, it wasn't great, it was entertaining, and I had a okay time watching it, but I was just left feeling a little bit unfulfilled. But the song, damn catchy. Next on my list, I watched Mortal Kombat! Oh, Mortal Kombat. Why? So I didn't review this movie. I was planning on reviewing it, and then when I watched it, I just didn't want anything to do with it anymore. So I didn't review it. So I'll review it like just briefly right now. So Mortal Kombat, you know what it is. I don't really need to explain it to you, but it's not great. I actually hated it. I did not like it at all. Ooh, I'm angry because they released the first 10 minutes like a week before the movie came out. It's like a little teaser, and I watched it and it was so good. I was like, ooh, these first 10 minutes are amazing. If the movie is anything like this, it's gonna be so good, and it got me so pumped. Good on them, great idea, great marketing ploy. Show the best part of the movie so people want to see it, and then they'll find out that the rest of it is trash. Because the first 10 minutes were so good, like damn. Because the rest, there was, okay, so like I really wasn't expecting this to have a great plot. I didn't go into this hoping for plot. I really was like, I just want to see bitches fight bitches. Like, I want some violence, I want some gore, bring it to me. But instead, they just gave me this horrible plot with this horrible protagonist named Cole Young. I'm picturing them in the writer's room like, all right guys, we need a new character. He's gotta be cool, he's gotta be young. I got it, we're gonna name him Cole Young. Yes, brilliant, well done. It is laughable. It's laughable. The most vanilla, boring, bland character you could possibly have as a protagonist. Sure, fine, whatever. Once again, don't care about the plot. It's cool, just give me some fight scenes and I'll be satisfied. I'll be good, I don't even care. And then there were just no good fight scenes. Like, I think the last 10 minutes, which I will not spoil if you haven't seen it, but the last 10 minutes were good. I enjoyed the last 10 minutes. It's like the first 10 minutes and the last 10 minutes were great. It's a great bookend movie. Everything in between, bad. I was so bored. I enjoyed, nothing. I liked Kano. I enjoyed Kano. I thought he had some great lines. He was funny. He kept me going through the movie. I was like, okay, I'll stay for you, Kano. I'll stay for you. Everything else sucked. It's like there was no Mortal Kombat in Mortal Kombat. You know what I'm saying? The fight scenes were not very good. They were not nearly as gory as they should have been. There were like a few moments that were very cool. Like, I remember one moment specifically that I was like, oh, that was so cool. And it was when Sub-Zero like sucked out someone's blood in the air and then like froze it and turned it into a knife and stabbed somebody with it. And I was like, yo, that's so cool. So like, okay, there were some cool moments, sure, but I'm never gonna watch it again, and I thought it was garbage. Okay, next, speaking of action and fun fight scenes, I rewatched John Wick Parabellum #3. And let me tell ya, that movie rips. It's so good. The first time I saw it, I had a little bit of like John Wick fatigue because I went to a marathon premiere where they showed the first one, the second one, and then the premiere of the new one, the third one. And I love John Wick, I really do, but there's not a whole lot of plot. And when you watch all three of them in a row, you get a little tired of fight scenes by the end. So I was a little bit tired, and when I watched it, I just wouldn't recommend it, at least for a first time viewing. But yeah, watching it for the second time was somehow better. Like, it was so much fun, and the plot is actually really good. I think it's better than the second one. Not better than the first one. The first one, King. Man, I just love John Wick. It's such a fun universe. I love that it's like literally created by stunt people, so the stunts are legit and like so entertaining and so cool, beautifully choreographed, like it's an art. And the visuals in this movie are amazing, like the lighting and the colors, like the Technicolor. Ooh, it's so good. Plus the stakes are like so high in this one. It's like every movie just gets more intense, and they have 2 more movies planned, and I'm like, what else could you possibly do? But like, I'm super pumped for those, and I'm gonna watch the shit out of them. But yeah, I watched John Wick 3, and it was super fun. And the last movie that I watched was another rewatch. I was just feeling a little bit nostalgic this month, and I wanted some feel-good stuff once again. And so I watched the ultimate nostalgia feel-good movie, and that is The Princess Diaries. I have no idea what moved me to watch this. They have them all on Disney Plus, and I might watch all of them. But I don't know, I was just like scrolling and I saw it and I was like, yeah, let's just throw that on. I haven't watched that movie since I was a literal child, and I always loved it back then, and I was just sort of like wondering if it would hold up. And I'll say that it does. It totally does. I think the only thing that annoyed me is that her best friend is like a super bitch, and I was like, why are you friends with her? She's the actual worst character ever. But like, aside from that, it was just so good. It holds up completely. I'm in love with it. It's such a good movie. I don't really feel like I need to explain what this movie is to you. You probably know about it. But if you haven't seen it in a while, I would recommend a rewatch. It was just like, it was one of those days where I was just feeling crummy and I didn't want to think or use my brain, but I wanted to watch something like feel good that was just gonna make me happy, and it delivered 100%. But anyways, that's pretty much all that I watched this month. I did start a few new shows, but I didn't get deep enough into them to like really talk about them. I started watching Legion, which I only watched the first episode, but damn, I can't believe I've never watched this show before. I really had no idea what it was about, or like I thought I did, but then I watched the pilot and I was like, huh? What is this show about at all? Like, I couldn't even explain it to you right now. It's amazing. It's like literal art, like cinematic art. And I'm so excited to watch the rest of it because my God, it's so unique and cool. And like, I just have no idea where it's going. Like, I only watched 1 episode and I felt like I watched a whole show. Like, so much happened. Oh, it's so good. So yeah, I'm watching that. I'm sure I'll talk about it when I'm done with it. I also started watching The Witcher because I actually have never seen it. Also only watched the first episode, but I loved it. I don't remember what was happening when The Witcher came out, but I just was not, I don't know. I didn't watch it, so I'm watching it now. I also just started rewatching How I Met Your Mother. Once again, nostalgic, feel-good stuff is what I want. You can get a great idea of where my headspace is lately. I just want like fight scenes, no plot, nostalgic, feel-good. That's it. That's everything that I want. But yeah, I started rewatching How I Met Your Mother because I remember really loving it and I wanted a sitcom, and there's like nothing really out there right now that I'm interested in. So I just started rewatching that. And I will say, it's not as good as I remember it. And Ted Mosby is absolutely awful. Like, I can't believe I used to root for him and like support his decisions when I first watched this show, because he's just so dumb and kind of an asshole the whole time. I mean, I'm only like halfway through season 1. I'm sure there's some character development, but like, Ted, chill, man. Yikes. Anyways, that's it. That's it for my list. That's everything I've watched in April. Let me know what you have been watching this month in the comments below. I would love to hear your recommendations. I'm always looking for new things to watch. I mean, last video someone commented Ted Lasso, and this month I'm talking about Ted Lasso because I watched all of it and it was so good. So please give me more recommendations. You guys have great tastes and I need stuff to fill my void. But that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out with me, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.